Hello and welcome to Bio for You. In this video, we're going to discuss chapter 8, Transport System. Okay, so here is the chapter review. So in transport system, we're going to discuss about animal and plants. Okay, so first we're going to learn about in 8.1 we're going to learn about mammalian hearts. Okay, so here are the learning outcomes. We're going to explain the structure and the function of heart, illustrate the structure of the heart, explain the flow of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood into and out of the heart, and explain the initiation of heartbeat. Okay. So first we're going to look at the mammalian heart, okay, structures and the function. So here is a human heart, all right, the actual human heart. Okay, so in terms of the shape is a cone shape. So dia berbentuk cone and located in the chest cavity directly under the breastbone, i.e. the sternum. Itu betul-betul kat bahagian tengah ni, sternum tengah-tengah, tetapi dia slightly ke kiri sedikit. Okay, its wall consists mostly of cardiac muscle. Maksud dia wall of a heart ni terdiri daripada cardiac muscle. So ni sternum. Karakteris ni cuma nak tunjuk gambar sternum lah. Sternum tu dekat mana. So structure of heart. It is also enclosed by pericardium. It is a tough connective tissue sac. So sebenarnya jantung ni dia dibaluti ataupun diselaputi oleh satu selaput. Nama selaput tu adalah pericardium. And underneath the pericardium dia ada macam fluid sikit, cair sikit. Nama dia adalah pericardial fluid. But yang paling penting untuk hafal, yang tahu adalah pericardium. Ni yang nampak warna putih macam satu selaput ni, okay? So pericardium ni is a tough protective membrane around the heart. So fungsi dia untuk melindungi jantung tersebut. And the pericardial cavity consists of pericardial fluid to reduce the friction as the heart moves. Okay, remember, jantung kita ni akan berdegup kan? Dia akan berdegup dengan kencang seperti kenderaan mahu perang. So each of the heartbeat tu, how to reduce the friction dengan organ-organ lain tu, dia perlukan pericardium dengan juga pericardial fluid ni. Kalau tak ada, so the friction is too high, so jantung ni akan mudah untuk rosak. So it consists of 4 chambers. This is what you have learned in your secondary school, I believe. So it consists of atrium, okay, and also ventricle. So atrium ataupun auricle ni, we have right and left, and for the ventricle also we have right and left. Okay, whereby we also have the septum. Okay, yang dekat tengah-tengah ni, they will separate the right atrium from the left atrium. Okay, and also it will separate the right ventricle from the left ventricle. Okay, so looking at the diagram of this heart, okay, so please always take note that whenever you're looking at the diagram, it is always you're going to have the right atrium on this side, the right ventricle on this side, and the left atrium on that side, on the left ventricle on that side. Whereby when you looking at it, tak sama. Dia punya left, kau punya, kita punya kanan. Kita kena bayangkan always when we look at the structure of heart, ini adalah dari segi sudut medical. So always kita kena anggap and put the orientation seperti kita sedang melihat patient itu di hadapan kita. So bila kita tengah tengok orang dekat depan kita, betul lah, our right is their left and their right is our left. Macam tu. So right atrium, what is the function? To receive deoxygenated blood, maknanya darah yang tidak beroksigen, okay, from the whole body through vena cava. So soon we're going to look at the name of this vena cava. Okay, and the right ventricle, okay, pumps out deoxygenated blood to the lungs through pulmonary arteries, and the left atrium receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through pulmonary veins, and the left ventricle pumps out oxygenated blood to the whole body through aorta. Okay, don't worry too much about all of these aces. Saya confused, hafal tak hafal. Don't worry, we're going to look at the diagram and I hope you will gain a better understanding. Okay. So here is the actual diagram of the heart, and this is the septum. Right and left side is separated by septum. Okay, so ini yang dia cakap tadi tu, vena cava dan sebagainya kan. So IVC is inferior vena cava, SVC is superior vena cava. Apa beza superior dengan inferior? Inferior ni kan takut kan, so datang pada bawah lah. Superior tu macam bunyi superior kan, dia datang pada bahagian atas. So the name of the blood vessel. Bila saya kata blood vessel tu adalah secara umum, maknanya saluran darah. Saluran darah ni secara umum dia ada arteri dan juga ada vein. Okay. So kalau arteri, the one that is saluran darah yang akan pergi ke paru, nama dia mesti pulmonary. So pulmonary artery. Macam tu. So kita tahu dia adalah arteri yang akan pergi ke paru. And dari segi nama artery and vein ni, jangan risau. Bila nama dia artery, dia adalah out, mesti bawa dia mesti adalah saluran darah yang membawa darah out, keluar daripada heart. So aorta, dia adalah salah satu arteri juga, dia arteri paling besar. Okay, so dia adalah out, dia bawa darah keluar daripada jantung. Dan vein, apa-apa vein, dia adalah mesti saluran darah yang bawa darah masuk ke dalam jantung. Okay. The right side is consisting deoxygenated blood. Betul lah, darah yang tidak beroksigen. Okay, sebab dah dibawa daripada sel semua kan. And the left side, bahagian sini adalah oxygenated blood. Okay, so here's the diagram of the heart. So this is the aorta. Okay, aorta is the biggest blood vessel, and it is going to transport blood out from the heart into the whole part of the body. And here is the anterior vena cava. So when we know it is vein, means it carries blood into the heart. Okay, and so this is the right atrium over here, and behind there is the left atrium. Being covered, okay, not visible under here. AV valve, okay, atrioventricular valve, and this is the right ventricle over here, this whole entire chamber, and this whole entire chamber is the left ventricle, and we have the septum separating from the left and right part of the heart. Okay. Pulmonary artery, so when you say artery, means you know the blood vessel that is transporting blood out from the heart. Okay, so since the name is pulmonary, we know it's going to be connected to the lungs. And pulmonary veins means it carries blood into the heart from the lungs. Why do the atria have thinner muscular walls than the ventricles? Okay, so simple je lah. So kita tahu thin wall atria need only to deliver blood under less pressure into the adjacent ventricles sahaja. Sebab atria ni dia cuma perlu pumpkan darah daripada chamber dia terus masuk ke ventricle bawah ni saja. So dia tak perlulah dinding yang tebal and very muscular. Okay, but both of the ventricles have much thicker walls because the ventricle ni dia perlu pump blood under very high pressure over greater distances. Kenapa over greater distances? Kalau yang right ventricle ni dia akan pergi ke pulmonary, okay. Mana pulmonary, mana pergi ke lungs, mana jauh kan lungs. Yang ini pula aorta, pergi ke seluruh badan lain. So memang perlukanlah pressure yang sangat tinggi. Okay, the question is, why do the left ventricle has thicker muscular wall than the right ventricle? So here is the left ventricle. Okay, remember left ventricle is what appears to your right. Maksudnya di sebelah kanan kamu adalah apa yang kamu nampak. Left ventricle pesakit itu. Sebab kita tengah berhadapan dengan dia kan, kita tengah tengok dia. Okay, so basically left ventricle ni kenapa lagi tebal daripada right ventricle? Okay, sebab right ventricle only pumps blood to the lungs. So dia nak hanya pergi hantar ke lungs saja, tak jauh pun, which are very near to the heart, and the resistance to blood flow is small. Maknanya rintangan untuk rintangan untuk blood tu is kecil sahaja. Whereas the left ventricle has much thicker walls because it pumps blood to all other parts of the body at higher pressure, and the resistance to blood flow is larger. Sebab dia nak kena hantar ke seluruh badan, ke seluruh anggota badan kita. So dia perlukan muscle yang sangat besar, sangat tebal untuk pumps the blood out of it. Okay. Okay, so diagram ni macam kita dah cakap tadi lah, left ventricle is having a thicker wall compared to the left ventricle. So valve, so kita nak cakap pasal valve pula. Okay, valve ni dia sangat penting dekat dalam heart because it prevents function ni to keep the blood from flowing backward. and to ensure the blood flow in one way direction only. Maksudnya, kita tak nak blood daripada atria dah masuk ke ventricle, patah balik ke atria balik. No, we don't want that to happen. So, same goes when we have the blood pumped out from the ventricle, masuk aorta, masuk pulmonary artery, semua tu kan. We don't want the blood to flow back into the heart back again. So nak prevent ni macam ni, we will use valve. That's the function of the valves. So valves ada dua jenis. Typically ada dua jenis. So they are AV valve, atrioventricular valve, and semilunar valve. Why it is called as semilunar valve? Yes, sebab bentuk dia hampir sama macam semilunar. Apa itu semilunar? Bulan separa. Macam kita beritahu bulan separa. Macam tu lah. Kalau full moon kan bulat macam tu kan. Kalau apa semi lunar, semi moon, macam itulah bentuk yang lebih kurang. Okay, so AV valve ada dua. Okay, right AV valve, tricuspid valve, and satu lagi ialah left AV valve, iaitu bicuspid valve. Kenapa nama dia ataupun nama lain dia adalah tricuspid valve? Sebab dia ada 3 flap, dia ada 3 injap. Yang ini ada 2 injap saja, sebab tu dia panggil sebagai bicuspid valve. So left ni yang bekerja lebih berat dan lebih higher pressure ni hanya ada 2 sahaja valve. Yang bekerja lebih ringan sikit tapi dia ada 3 valves. Okay, so semilunar valve ni ada 2, pulmonary valve dan aortic valve. So kita tahulah aortic valve ni dia adalah valve yang terdapat dekat dalam aorta. Yang pulmonary valve ni adalah yang terdapat dekat dalam artery pulmonary. So inilah dia tadi tu. Okay, so kita tengok satu persatu dahulu. Bicuspid valve. So inilah bicuspid valve and this is the tricuspid valve. So ini dipanggil sebagai semilunar valve. Okay, tapi bila dia terletak dekat dalam aorta, namanya adalah aortic valve. Bila terletak dekat dalam pulmonary, nama dia adalah pulmonary valve. Artery pulmonary, ini adalah aorta. Okay, so basically ni cuma adalah label-labelnya sahajalah. Kita dah tengok pun tadi. Okay, so AV valve. So kita ada tricuspid and bicuspid. So tricuspid is between the right atrium and the right ventricle. So tricuspid adalah di bahagian kanan. Remember, kanan tu ialah kanan pesakit kita, bukannya kanan kita. So here is the AV valve, tricuspid valve. Yang ini, this, okay, the one that I'm pointing right now here, these two. Okay, the bicuspid valve, or also known as mitral valve, okay, is this one, sini, yang ini, and also this one. Alright, so this one, the tricuspid valve, the function is to prevent the backflow of blood from right ventricle, sini, to the left, to the right atrium. For this one, prevent the backflow from blood from left ventricle into the left atrium, obviously. Okay, so semilunar valves, so dia ada pulmonary semilunar valve, okay, iaitu yang ini dekat bahagian sini. Okay, so dia adalah terletak dekat between right ventricle, which is this one, and pulmonary artery. Remember, pulmonary artery adalah saluran darah yang nak hantar darah pergi ke lungs, pergi ke paru-paru, and dia datang daripada right ventricle. Okay, and kita pun dah ingat juga tadi kan, right ventricle ni dia punya wall dia lebih nipis, okay, berbanding dengan left ventricle. So prevents the backflow of blood from pulmonary artery into the right ventricle. Okay, whereas the other one, aortic semilunar valve, which is yang ada dekat dalam sini lah, saya suppose. Okay, yang ni nampak ada sikit je nampak dekat sini. So ini adalah semilunar valve ataupun aortic valve itu. It is located between the left ventricle, this one, and the aorta. So prevents the backflow of blood from aorta nak patah balik masuk ke dalam left ventricle. So dia dihalang oleh valve inilah. Okay. So this is a closed tricuspid valve and open tricuspid valve, bentuk dia macam ni. Closed bicuspid valve, bentuk dia macam ni, and open bicuspid valve, bentuk dia macam ni. Okay, so we know that this valve also being held by this tendon called as chordae tendinae. So valve ni, walaupun dia sebagai injap, sebagai flap dia kan, so supaya dia tak terlepas ke bahagian belakang tu, dia diikat oleh tendon. So ini nama tendon yang tadi tu, chordae tendinae. So the edges of atrioventricular valves are supported by non-elastic strands, the chordae tendineae yang saya baru je sebut tadi. It is a tendinous fibers attached to the cups of the AV valves, which also then attach to the papillary muscles. Papillary muscles ni akan attach to the wall of the heart lah. Okay. Functions of chordae tendineae is prevent valves from inverting, maknanya terlepas ke belakang balik when the heart contracts. So this is the valve and this is the wall of the ventricle. So we have the chordae tendineae holding the holding by attaching to the valve, and also is attached to this papillary muscle, this one here, papillary muscle, supaya valve ni tidak terflap ke belakang. So this is the pathway of blood from deoxygenated until it becomes and from this one is oxygenated blood. For the deoxygenated blood, darah yang kurang beroksigen daripada muscle cell, daripada respiring tissue, so dia akan masuk via inferior and superior vena cava. Saya tunjukkan tadi tu vena cava tu kan, and then dia akan masuk ke right atrium. Okay, right atrium of and then through the AV valve, and then dia masuk daripada atrium, lepas tu dia masuk ke right ventricle pula. So lepas dia akan masuk dia akan dipump keluar pergi ke lungs melalui pulmonary artery. Remember, artery out, saluran darah yang out, membawa darah out from the heart. The pulmonary circulation is the right side of the heart pump deoxygenated blood into the lung. Whereas the oxygenated blood, dia akan bawa darah yang beroksigen itu, of course lah, daripada lungs. So kalau daripada lungs, namanya mestilah pulmonary. So nak bawa darah masuk ke dalam heart, artery ke vein? Mesti adalah vein yang bawa masuk darah in. Vein, into, bawa masuk ke dalam heart. So pulmonary vein. Kenapa pulmonary? Sebab dia adalah baru saja dihubungkan dengan lungs. So dia akan masuk ke left atrium. So daripada left atrium akan masuk ke dalam left ventricle through the AV valve, and daripada left ventricle dia akan dipump darah ni pergi ke semua body tissues melalui aorta. So this is called as systemic circulation. It consists the left side of the heart and will pump the oxygenated blood to the tissue. Okay, so here is the circulation of the blood. So we have here systemic circulation, and this is the pulmonary circulation. You guys can refer this in your lecture notes. Okay, so you guys can refer back to what I've said on the previous slide. So this is another diagram showing you the arrow jumping here and there. Okay, so let us get down to the business. Okay, so where shall I start? I'll start from here. I'll start from this dotted arrow over here. So this is the superior vena cava, bahagian atas. Atas superior, bawah inferior. So superior vena cava ni biasanya dia akan supply blood daripada bahagian atas of the heart. Contohnya daripada kepala, otak, kalau ada lah, semua ada otak kan, bahagian tangan dan sebagainya. Manakala bahagian bawah ni, inferior vena cava ni, this one, biasanya dia akan dia terima darah, dia kumpulkan darah daripada bahagian abdomen, perut, kaki dan semualah abdomen, bahagian-bahagian yang bawah, usus. Okay, so dia akan bawa darah masuk ke dalam atrium. So this is the right atrium. So darah semua akan mula dikumpul di dalam right atrium dahulu, and then the blood will be pumped into the ventricle, which is the right ventricle. So here is the papillary muscle. This is the chordae tendineae holding up the tricuspid valve supaya dia tak terflap ke belakang balik. So then the blood will be pumped out into the left and right pulmonary artery. So remember, artery out. Okay, so nak bawa darah ni pergi ke mana? Dah lah dia deoxygenated blood, mestilah nak bawa pergi ke lungs supaya untuk bukan diisi, untuk absorb the oxygen. Okay, so then the next story comes from pulmonary vein. Bawa masuk. So pulmonary vein akan bawa darah yang oxygenated blood into the left atrium, which is this chamber over here. So then this blood will enter the left ventricle, and during the heart contraction or systole, so it will pump the blood into the aorta over here. Okay, so we also have this aortic valve over here preventing the blood from backflow into the left ventricle back again, and we also have the septum over here. Okay, so then the blood will be transported out. So actually, this contraction of the ventricle will occur or happen at the same time, and the contraction of the atrium will occur at the same time as well. Okay, for each other. Maksud dia macam ni, bila right atrium contract, left atrium also contract dengan serentak. So bila left ventricle sedang contract, right ventricle pun sedang contract dengan serentak. Macam tu lah. Dia bukannya buat, oh ni contract dulu, lepas tu ni contract, lepas tu baru ni contract, ini contract. No. Atrium, serentak, ventricle, serentak akan bekerja. Akan contract. Okay, please get that idea. So we come to the second part. Another big part of this video, which is the initiation of heartbeat. Itu permulaan, awal mula, pertama mula of the heartbeat. You guys were always talking about heartbeat dagu, jantungku berdegup lebih kencang seperti kenderaan perang, semua sembang bagai-bagai lah. Kau ayat jiwa tu macam-macam lagi keluarlah, jantungku kencang laju semua. So how does it all started? It starts from here. Okay. So first we need to understand these two terms, systole and diastole. One heartbeat, satu degupan jantung, consists of a contraction phase, i.e. systole, degup, and the relaxation phase, i.e. diastole, relax. Okay, relax and okay. So systole, diastole. Okay, so itu adalah satu heartbeat. Okay. Initiation of heartbeat and control of heart rate. So macam mana kita nak control dia? Alright. The time taken for one cardiac cycle, kita panggil itu sebagai cardiac cycle of contraction and relaxation, maknanya contract and relax, takes specifically exactly 0.8 seconds. Not more and not less. When the heartbeat is beating at the rate of 70 to 80 beats per minute. So itu adalah dalam keadaan yang normal. So ingat 0.8 saat untuk satu complete degup jantung dan relax. Lepas tu next tak degup lagi. Okay, so the cardiac muscle is myogenic. Maksud myogenic ini adalah self-excitable. Mana boleh excited, bukan excited, boleh buat kerja dengan sendirinya. So it contracts and relaxes automatically. No nerve stimulations is required. So maknanya when the heart starts to work, it can just continuously working on its own. Okay, then this heartbeat is being synchronized, diseragamkan by the sinoatrial node, i.e. the pacemaker. Pacemaker dan pace, rentak maker pembuat rentak, which sets the rate and timing at which all cardiac muscle cells should contract. So kerja dia lah pacemaker ni. Pacemaker is a small mass of a specialized cardiac muscles in the SA node. Maksudnya SA node ni adalah seketul atau segumpal mass, small mass lah, special muscle yang ada dekat situ. So function dia adalah untuk set rentak jantung ni. Pernah dengar tak kadang-kadang orang yang dah berumur sikit ataupun orang masalah jantung, dia pakai artificial pacemaker. So artificial pacemaker adalah small jantung, saiz dia macam tak besar sangat pun, dia ada pakai bateri. So dia akan diletakkan dekat jantung orang tu. So function pacemaker tu adalah untuk creates regulated electrical impulse to keep on synchronizing the heartbeat. So itulah function pacemaker. So the sequence of events which happens during each beat is determined by the pacemaker tadi tu and conducting the system of the heart. So semuanya mesti akan bermula daripada SA node. SA node ni adalah sinoatrial node. Node ni maksudnya adalah macam satu gumpulan ataupun satu lump. Okay, macam satu dia cakap tadi, a small mass. So SA node ni lah dia akan generate electrical impulse, okay, untuk bagi tahu semua masa-masa dia untuk buat apa pada selang masa yang tertentu. Okay, so this is the electric system of heart. So memang ada electric lah juga kan. So we have two nodes. So first we have the sinoatrial node bahagian atas ni, and then we have the AV node which is atrioventricular node dekat bahagian bawah ni. So SA node ni terletak dekat in the wall of the right atrium. So dia tak ada dekat right and left, hanya dekat right sahaja. And then these green wires over here is the nerves, saraf. Okay, so what will it do? I hope that you can see and notice over here, the SA node will have the nerves, okay, delivering the impulse adalah electrical signal itu, to the left atrium sebelah sini. And also it will have another nerves sending the impulse to the AV node over here. Next, the function of AV node ni, dia akan generate another electrical signal untuk hantar pergi ke bahagian sampai ke bawah ni lah, melalui bundle of branch, left and right bundle branch, sampai dia hantar pergi ke Purkinje fibers over here dan dekat sini juga. Okay, so ini apa yang saya dah beritahu tadi. Semuanya SA node is over here, and then we have the AV node over here. You also can see the label of this arrow over here means that the signal from SA node will be delivered same to the left atrium as well, and the signal also will be delivered to the AV node as well. AV node will generate its new impulse dan dia akan hantar sampai ke Purkinje fibers dekat bahagian bawah ni. And here is the bundle branches, this one and this one. Okay, so if we take out the whole entire structure of the heart, we just leave the nerves and the nodes. So this is what we have. We have the SA node having the nerves delivering to the to the left atria. This is the right atria over here. We also have another big nerve over here delivering the impulse to the AV node, and the AV node akan hantar pergi ke bawah melalui bundle branches over here di bahagian sini dan right and left. Okay, so bundle of his dekat sini, bundle of his ataupun AV bundle, and last sekali yang macam berakar-akar ni namanya Purkinje fibers. Okay, so ini pun saya dah apa yang dah bagi tahu daripada tadi dah. A flow of the electrical impulse from SA node hantar ke atrial muscle, daripada atrial muscle akan pergi ke AV node. AV node akan hantar the electrical impulse kepada bundle of his, bundle branches, Purkinje fibers, and last sekali pergi ke ventricle muscles for the contraction. So remember, when the SA node deliver the impulse pergi ke atrial muscle, apa atrial buat? Dia akan contract, dia akan systole. So maknanya logik lah, bila electrical impulse sampai dekat situ, apa dia akan buat? Dia akan contract, dia akan systole. Okay, so ni adalah SA node. So it acts as a pacemaker. So saya dah bagi tahu juga tadi, initiates the generation of impulse, where we know the muscle, cardiac muscle is a myogenic, and this SA node itself is located at the right atrium near the opening of vena cava, dekat bahagian opening tu, and the AV node dekat sini terletak in the interatrial septum. Ini interatrial septum ni, septum dekat bahagian sini lah yang menghubungkan antara atria dengan antara atria. The delay provides time for the atria to empty their blood into the ventricle. Okay, sebenarnya the electrical impulse daripada SA node nak capai pergi ke AV node ini, dia ada delay, ada dilambatkan, dilewatkan, dilengahkan selama 0.1 saat. Okay, why do we need this important time frame 0.1 second? Supaya that is the time required to empty, untuk kosongkan, okay, untuk kosongkan atrium ni supaya darah itu boleh pergi ke ventricle. Okay, so the SA node will generate the electrical impulse. Dah banyak kali dah kita repeat benda ni kan. Okay, tapi untuk kefahaman korang is okay. So don't worry, we have come about soon enough to the end of this session. Okay, so we finish this one. We're going to done with our business for today. For this session. Okay, so SA node generates electrical impulse. Nampak yang dot biru-biru ni, so itulah electrical impulse-nya. And the electrical impulse will spread rapidly through the wall of the atrium. Dia akan disebarkan kepada wall of atria, okay, making them to contract simultaneously. Remember when we say atria, maknanya dulu kiri dan kanan tu, and generating the atrial systole. So nama kali ini adalah atrial systole. So kenapa atrial systole dan apa itu atrial systole? Atria sedang contract. Okay, so why does it contract? Because it receive the electrical impulse. Daripada mana datangnya? Generated by the SA node. Okay, and then the impulse reach the AV node. This transmission is delayed for 0.1 second. So daripada sini tadi kan asalnya biru-biru tu kan. So now dah sampai sini, it is being delayed for 0.1 second. So allowing the atria to empty their blood into ventricles kat sini. So then from the AV node, impulse is transmitted to bundle of His ataupun atrioventricular bundle. Ini bundle of His dekat sini yang saya tengah point ni. Then the impulse is transmitted to the left and right bundle branches, and last sekali boleh akan pergi ke Purkinje fibers yang hujung-hujung ini. Okay, kenapa Purkinje fibers ni terletak dekat bahagian bawah dan kenapa kita perlu hantar electrical impulse ni untuk contract cause the contraction of the heart ni daripada bawah from the apex of the heart, APEX, apex maknanya paling bucu, paling bawah sekali. Sebab logik yang bila heart ni nak contract, dia mesti kena contract daripada bahagian bawah sekali untuk kecut ke atas. So kalau dia kecut pada atas ke bawah, so habis darah tu. Kalau dia kecut pada atas ke bawah ni, habis darah tu akan deep pressure tu tekan ke sini dan bocor dah, meletup dah bahagian sini kan. So that's why dia kena contract pada bawah ke atas untuk push the blood upwards macam ni. Okay. The signals will spread throughout the ventricular walls, stimulates the ventricle to contract simultaneously, juga serentak. Okay, ventricle systole from apex daripada bawah upwards. Okay, so what is this? So we have the contraction of the atrium. So ni basically macam quick summary balik lah. And this is first you have the contraction of atrium, then you have the contraction of ventricle. Basically you have the contraction namanya adalah systole, atrial systole, and then you have ventricular systole. Okay, so this is showing you the bundle of His and everything here. Basically I've touched this point previously. Okay, and so this is also the same. Another diagram to make you understand better. Impulses spread across the atria causing atrial systole. Nampak ni warna pink, warna purple ni. So that is the generation of the impulse. So now sekarang ni atria ni both sedang contract. The impulses are then passed to AVN, delayed 0.1 second dekat sini, to allow atria to complete their contraction before ventricles contract ataupun empty completely. And then the impulse from AV node are conducted to bundle of His, ni adalah bundle of His, then into the right and left bundle branches, and finally to the Purkinje fibers that it will transmit the impulse throughout the ventricular walls and toward the apex, and the ventricles will start to contract daripada bahagian bawah. Okay, so this is the last slide. Summary. SA node atria will contract, delay by 0.1 second, and then we know what will happen next. The bundle of His, the electrical impulse hantar melalui bundle of His, okay, ataupun every bundle, and then pergi ke left and right branches, Purkinje fibers, through the send to the ventricles, and ventricle will contract. Okay, so that will be end for this video. Alright, so please do subscribe and like this video and share it to your friends. Okay, so until now, thank you.